Good morning. Today we are continuing on with those fractions. We are doing PO15. It is a PO. It's one of those power objectives we have to have this skill mastered. Okay, some of those COs that we just worked on, we're building up to it. This is a power objective, so we really need to understand how to do each of these sections. The last few objectives have focused on working with fractions in various ways. Finding equivalent fractions when we're multiplying by that same scale factor. Simplifying fractions, what factor can we divide out of both the numerator and denominator? And comparing the fractions to 0, a half, or 1. This objective is going to practice using those methods to compare the values of fractions. So we're going to do a quick review of our symbols. When we have this symbol, it means less than, because we read from left to right. This number is less than this number, because we know the big N wants to gobble up the big number. This symbol means greater than. Because this number is the bigger number, it wants to gobble up the bigger number, so it's greater than the next number. So compare the fractions using less than, greater than, or equal to. So we always read from left to right. So we're comparing that first number to the second number. Show how you can use equivalent fractions to do this. So if we're using equivalent fractions, what does that mean? James?
You're making them the common denominators.
Yeah, we want to find that common denominator fraction. So whatever we do to multiply the denominator, we have to multiply that numerator by. So if we look at 1/3 and 1/4, what is a common denominator for the 3 and the 4? Nora? 12. So I'm going to need to make both of them a 12 for a denominator. So I need to decide, what did I multiply that 3 by to get to 12? Nora? A 4. Notice how I'm writing it. I am not doing this to give you extra work. I'm doing that because it's super easy to forget what number we're multiplying by. So I multiply 3 by 4, so I know I need to multiply 1 by 4. Then I come over to my next fraction and I say, okay, to go from 4 to 12, what did I multiply by? Nora? 3. So I multiplied the denominator by 3. Now I need to multiply the numerator by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Whew, I got my equivalent fractions. Am I done?
Nope.
Why not, Aiden?
Because you have to see which one's greater.
I have to actually compare my fractions now. So now I'm going to say, is 4/12 less than, greater than, or equal to 3/12? Greater, because 4 is bigger than 3. So when you are doing this work, you are not just writing a symbol. You are writing the equivalent fractions with that common denominator. And really, truly, write what you're multiplying. What scale factor are you multiplying each fraction by? So you do the correct multiplication. It happens all the time that people are doing the mental math of it and they get confused and they know that we multiplied by a 4 here and they accidentally multiplied by a 4 on the next one. It happens all the time, friends. Remember to write down what your scale factor is so you do the correct multiplication. Any questions on how to do the equivalent fractions? So your answer is going to be both fractions with the correct symbol in between them. Let me scroll up, because each section we're doing something different. And it says compare the fractions. Show how you can do this by simplifying the fractions. So we need to simplify both fractions. So let's look at this first one. How low can I go with 12 and 18? What can I divide out, Aiden?
Divide. Wait, we do it thing that Mr. Robinson taught us, we can cross divide.
Cross reduce?
Yeah. I don't
Cross simplify?
No.
We're gonna first go over how we simplified before, and then we can review simplify.
The cross was for like.
We can cross simplify this, but that's okay, Aiden. Let's see if we can simplify each fraction, and then I'll show you a reminder on how to cross simplify if you wanna do that. So what can I divide out of 12 into 18, Aiden?
2. No.
You can divide a 2 out. We can divide a bigger number out.
6.
So if I divide 12 by 6, I get 2. 18 divided by 6 is 3. I could have done the 2 that Aiden started with. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 18 divided by 6, or 18 divided by 2 is 9. Then I just have to make sure I go lower. And then I have to divide it by the 3 to get my 2/3. So if you find your greatest common factor right from the start, you only have to simplify it once. If you use a smaller factor, you're just gonna have to keep simplifying till you get as small as you can get. What am I gonna divide 9/12ths by? Or sorry, 9/27ths?
3.
I can divide it by a 3. 9/27ths divided by 3 would give me 3/9. Now what do I need to divide it by? James?
3 again.
Another 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. What would have been my greatest common factor if I wanted to divide it just one time to simplify? Because I had to simplify it twice.
9.
9. If I divided it by 9, I would have only had to simplify that one time. So, what symbol am I going to put in here? 2/3 is what to 1/3? 2/3 less than, greater than, or equal to 1/3? Greater than. So I want to see what you're dividing your fraction by, how you're simplifying it, and then I want to see your simplified fractions. So you need to write in what you're dividing by to simplify it. And then you need to show me your answer, your simplified fractions and the symbol. Now, Aiden was saying, hey, we can cross simplify. So to do that, we look at what we can divide out like that. So 12 divided and 27. What can I divide out of 12 that I can also divide out of 27? Aiden?
3.
A 3. So 12 divided by 3 gives me a 4. 27 divided by 3 gives me a 9. What can I divide out of 18 and 9, Jillian?
9.
A 9. 9
So
divided by 9 is 1. 18 divided by 9 is 2. What did I do wrong? Oh,
Didn't know for the number?
no. So here's the thing. Cross simplifying is for when we are multiplying our fractions.
Yeah.
Cross simplifying is for multiplying. We're not multiplying. So cross simplifying is a wonderful thing, but it's only going to work when we multiply. Because we're not multiplying these numbers, we have to just simplify. So that trick of cross simplifying will not work for this. Aiden, I had to think that one through. So no, you cannot cross simplify on this one.
That's for like big fractions.
Yeah. Yep. Any questions on how to simplify the fractions to compare them? All right, so our next one is what we just did yesterday, looking at them related to 0, half, and 1. So I'm going to look at this and say 18/19, what is that closest to? 0, half, or 1?
1.
Isabel? 1. What is 5/24 closest to? 0, half, or 1? 0. So 8/19 to 5/24. How am I going to compare them? Less than, greater than, or equal to? Sorry, 18/19. Amelia?
Greater than?
Greater than, because 18, or that my 1 is greater than the 0, so I know it's going to be a greater than. I want to see your numbers. Is it closer to 0, a half, or 1? And then I can see how you are comparing those. But you have to show me. That's how you explain how you know. Explaining how you know is showing me which one it's closer to. So you can say, oh, 1 is greater than 0. That's how I know. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Okay, so we've got our last 3 objectives we're using to compare these fractions in different ways. So if you're not sure, look back at those last 3 objectives we just did, and it'll help you. Now it says use whatever method you choose, order the fractions from least to greatest, and show your work. Some of them only have 2 fractions, some have 3 fractions. So look and see what makes the most sense. Should I compare them to 0, half, and 1? Should I simplify? Should I do the equivalent fractions with common denominators? Use what works best for each situation. James?
So for the 2 fractions, do we really have to order them?
Yes.
Can we just do like greater than next time?
No, you actually have to order them, because it's not asking you to use the symbols. It's actually asking you to put the smaller fraction and then to put the bigger fraction. So you do need to put them in order. So even if they're in the correct order, you have to rewrite it in that order then. And that's it for our page. Using our knowledge to put our fractions in order. Any questions? Feel confident using our 3 objectives to work with our fractions?
Yep.
Okay, so for my friends at home, we hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon. Have a good day.